You heard me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.
And we are back. Yes, in some ways it didn't feel that long to be away, but it's not as if we tried to fly through Poland and then were sent back or anything. Just saying. Welcome back to WOW, What a Week.
This is
Wow!
What a Week.
What a week. You can't make this shit up.
So there's a saying, if you've seen one Goliath, you've seen them all. Okay, maybe there isn't a saying, but there is more than one Goliath, which means more ways to be entertained. Please give a wow welcome to the other Goliath, Nicholas Goliath. What's up, brother man?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
How many of you are there?
There are 3 that are comedians, and then I've made 2 of my own.
Oh, flip, so you added.
Yeah. No, we've got to keep the system going.
So David's out there, stand no chance.
David must come. We didn't got it, David. That is a Goliath. We've made David into Donovan David Goliath. Did you know that?
You've got a David Goliath.
Donovan. His middle name is David. He has many internal battles.
Oh.
Donovan David Goliath.
Actually, a lot of things make sense now.
Yeah.
A lot of things make sense.
Like?
Huh?
A lot of things.
No, I'm not.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm not
Don,
going to be a part of it.
Yeah,
So let's talk about your career as a comedian. Before you jumped into comedy, at what stage were the other Goliaths in their careers?
So before we jumped into comedy, I was before comedy, I was a call center agent for 9 years.
Jeez.
I know. Every time I think about it, my brain also just goes, geez, 9 years.
Why all of 9 years, bro?
Because I didn't want to study. I didn't know what I wanted to do after school, and I tried for a year, spent my parents' money, sorry mom, sorry dad, doing marketing communication. And then I realized, because I was very sheltered, my parents never let me go to the parties and do all the things that the other young kids were doing. Like, I was very kept at home. And
so you're the one kid in Eldos who was kept at home?
Yeah. No, okay. But we moved to Florida. So we moved out of Eldos.
Okay, so you were in the West then?
Yeah, so they were trying to keep me clean and make sure that I don't ruin my life.
Okay.
Which was a good thing. But then when I got to university, I realized that they don't take register and they don't phone your parents if you don't go to class. So then I spent 6 months on the grass just living my best life. Never got my degree or even went to a class. I went to one class actually, eventually ended up in a point where I had to get a job because I wasted my parents' money, and the call center was easy.
That was me when I was studying law. I failed first year, and it was a fail and repeat.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, clearly I didn't fail enough. Let me go back and do a better job of the failure. And remember those little video games, like China company?
Golden China.
Golden China
Sega
company.
32,
yes.
but yes.
Exactly. But I've got like the 501 that had like 10 versions of each game.
Yeah. 4 games, 50 different versions.
Dude, I spent that entire second year or first year playing Golden China. I became an expert at Tetris. What makes sense? I became an expert at Contra.
Contra was the one.
Like, you couldn't touch me.
No, Contra's the one.
I would finish the thing and start it again.
No, that's how I was with Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers, I could run through the entire thing, save the princess, right at the end with 1 life.
And then I'd go to the canteen for lunch because there was a girl I liked.
Yeah.
And then I'd see the girl I like there because she was in 4th year and I was in 1st year. I'd have my lunch and then I'd go back to our room and I'd watch videos.
No study.
It was, geez. Actually,
don't you find it weird that she was in 4th year, you were in 1st year, you still have that high school kind of mentality, even though you're out of high school? Because 4 years makes no difference.
It's actually nothing now.
It's nothing. Because when you get done past high school, past university, then 4 years, 5 years.
There's nothing a good pump can't fix, eh?
I mean, if you know how to do it.
Just a reminder that you might be older, but yay.
Yeah, you can get it.
Now, when you worked at a call center, I'm told you dodged work, but took it a bit too far.
Yeah, so I was that employee.
Yeah.
To call center managers out there, you know who that employee is. So I was that brother that assumed that your sick leave couldn't be carried over to next year. Like, you had to finish your sick leave this year.
You used it.
Yeah, I used my sick leave because every now and again I was in sales. I made my money for the month and I'd take a day. But I was smart because HR had the rules. If you take a day before or day after a public holiday, if you take a Monday or Friday, you need a doctor's note. So I was very smart. I used to do Tuesday to Thursday. Those were my days. enquiries.
Okay.
Because I don't need it. If you take one day and you just say, oh, there's something wrong with my stomach, they can't say to you there wasn't. They can't
Yes,
prove.
yes,
So you don't need a doctor's note. But then there's a Friday where I was on my way to work and some friends called me and they said they're playing FIFA, they're having a braai, and they're going to be drinking. I should come and spend the day with them.
You're so impressionable.
I am. I was. At the time I was. I've changed. I'm a different person now. I go to all my jobs and I do all the things.
Now you've got 2 kids because someone else made 2 kids.
Yeah. No, exactly. It was nice times back then. And then I ended up going to the doctor because it's Friday. I go to the doctor and then they do their thing. Because when you say you have stomach problems, they start pressing.
Yes,
They go,
yes.
does it hurt? And I kept saying, no, until I realized I need the note. So I decided in my mind that wherever he presses next, I'm going to say it hurts. And he pressed and I went, it hurts. And I was like, that sounds serious. And in my mind, when he said that sounds serious, it sounded like a long weekend, like I'm getting Friday and Monday.
I want to play FIFA for 3 extra days.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm like, yes, that sounds great. He says, can I make a phone call? I'm like, cool. He does the phone call. I'm busy planning my day out. I'm not even listening. Next thing he says to me, comes next to me and he says, do you mind going to see a specialist? I'm like, yeah, sure.
For a sick note.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I also don't want to admit that there's nothing wrong. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Because also I know how specialists work. You make an appointment, you go and see them in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Or
Yes.
So he's like, cool. I'm like, yeah, sure. He says, so I say, give me the note and then I'll make the appointment. He's like, no, I've spoken to the specialist already. He's waiting for you at the hospital. You need to go and see him at 12 o'clock.
Jeez.
So then I'm like, okay, cool. Because now he doesn't want to give me the note. He's like, the specialist will give you the note. Go to the specialist, same process. I remember where the pain is because it's very important. If you are the person who bunks work, remember, you can't come with a new pain.
Be consistent
Exactly.
in your bunking.
Imagine you come to a lung doctor with a kidney pain. It doesn't make sense.
Or you're limping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I remember where my pain is. He does the same process, presses. When he gets to the spot, I'm like, He says, can you come back at 2 o'clock? So I'm like, what do you mean? How long is it going to take? He says, no. Your appendix has burst and we need to remove it at 2 o'clock. I've booked you into surgery. So that's how I got my appendix removed.
Hold on. At what stage did you not think maybe I should tell this doctor that I'm fine?
So look, this is past 12 already in the day. So I can't go to work now and go, oh, guys, no, that's just a big fart. I'm actually fine. I have to. And then, no, but also matric biology will tell you that your appendix has no function in your body. And if your appendix bursts, you will die now. And my mom's saying in life is prevention is better than cure. So
you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
I mean, and I got the whole of the next week off. I played so much FIFA. It was wonderful. Yeah. But that's also when I knew I don't have patience for a day job.
One of the big stories this week, we are told over the last 3 years, 120 bogus doctors have been bust in this country.
I can't believe that.
It's almost on some guys are willing to take any chance to make a buck, but also because we don't know how do you check that your doctor's qualified?
No, you don't.
Where do you even check?
I'm sure there must be like a registry. Is there? I'm sure. We're going to check. We're going to find out and then put in the comments.
How often have you been to a registry to see, okay, this doctor's qualified? We don't.
Never. Why would you go and check it? Because you assume they have the certificate up on the wall. You don't think that they printed it for themselves.
I don't know if I'm impressed or if I'm disgusted at the fact that Oaks will do that and they'll cut you open.
Yes, comfortably. Just providing you with panados every day. Here's a panado. You're like, bro, my leg is broken. Do you have a cast? They're like, no, here's a panado. That's when you know.
Now, your appendix story has reminded me of a lot of crazy white friends that I have who'll do shit like crazy stuff that white kids do.
Yeah.
But none of the white friends I have, even if they could afford it, would get into a hot water geyser
My man.
controlled by a PlayStation controller.
It's not even a PlayStation controller. It's the cheap one. It's like I don't know what's the knockoff. I don't know what the knockoff of PlayStation.
It actually looks like the first Xbox controller.
Yes.
Where you're not sure if it works or not.
Yeah, still Xbox controllers, we don't know.
At what stage are you fine with saying, it's fine, we want to sit on the floor? It's not even comfortable.
No, I saw the inside of that thing.
I want to sit on the floor.
No chair.
We're going to go 4 kilometers into the deep and we're going to live.
Never in my days will you ever. Because my thing is, you're also going to see the Titanic, guys. Now, the Titanic hit an iceberg and then crashed and then sunk to the bottom of the... You're going to the same place where the accident happened in a geyser. that you are bolted. Are they bolted? Because I heard they were bolted. Like they couldn't get out themselves. Someone had to.
No, you're bolted in.
Yeah. So then,
So even if, for instance, it was to float up, because we're told the design was such that if anything went wrong, it would float back up. You'd still have to be bolted out of the thing.
yeah. So it's airtight.
It's airtight.
So now you're just floating in the ocean somewhere, like an old turd that doesn't want to go down. You're just there, floating, can't breathe. And then when they open it, now it smells like someone cucked in there.
I don't understand.
I would never.
In 2018, we are told one of the guys that worked for the company said that this thing is not safe, and he was fired. This is in 2018.
Yeah.
Said this thing is not safe.
Where is he now? He's sitting and laughing his ass off. He's like, I told you guys.
I don't think he's laughing. I think it's tragic. I don't think he's laughing, or not.
No, I think it's tragic for the people that are in there, but I think he's laughing at the company who now have to deal with this. Because he's like, guys, I warned you in 2018. If you'd listened to me, we'd have a consistent business. Now your first trip, now people are missing.
And what is it about the super rich that says, I want thrills that other people can't afford? Because even with space travel and exploration, wait and see.
No. So what is it? Bezos, Elon, they both have like private jets to space now. And it's that super rich thing. You must be careful, Fresh. You're close to that super rich bracket there. I can see you're going to be doing those things. Because for me, I'd never. I don't care how much money I have. Like, I saw a picture of how deep the actual thing is.
It's 4 kilometers, bro.
4 kilometers. They have like the Eiffel Tower is like the first 200 meters.
Yeah.
And then you still have to go like 6 Eiffel Towers. I'm like, not a chance. Do you know how dark it is? I'm terrified of the dark and like the pressure and the sounds and those creepy creatures. I don't know what's down there. No, not for me. I will never. Would you ever do it?
No.
Why?
I don't even skydive. I weigh 130 kilograms. I'm imagining 130 kilograms hurtling towards the earth at breakneck speed, and then that little parachute not deploying. That's all I think about.
Okay, so you have a similar problem to Jason. So like I do skydiving.
So we're fat. Is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying you're fat. I'm saying you weigh a lot.
Okay, so we're fat. Okay.
No, you saying you're fat. I'm saying you weigh a lot, and there are rules with skydiving. Like you can't just imagine the bra that's 75 kilos hold on your back. That's the bra, because you can't do it by yourself.
As in Jason wears a bra.
No, the guy, the person.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to do a tandem. For your first jump, you have to do tandem.
So you have to have a guy behind you.
Yes.
And what if he likes you?
I
Now there's a
mean,
poking also.
Yeah, no, then it's a nice long flight down. Going down. Going down and going up at the same
Now
time.
you don't know if you want this thing to like end fast because the parachute is going to slow you down.
Yeah.
And now there's this throbbing behind you.
Yeah, but gents generally end fast. Like, not me personally, but I mean, I've heard stories, shame, guys, sorry. Good luck.
So there's a story from Honduras. There's a women's prison in Honduras. There was a riot, and 46 women were murdered by a gang in this prison. They had machine guns, they had machetes, they had every conceivable weapon in the prison. In the prison.
So did they
They had semi-automatic in the prison.
did they take from the guards, or is it just like under the bed?
Clearly, it was bested in.
Okay. Okay.
So President Castro was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to fire my security minister. Like on the spot, security minister's gone.
Can we phone Cyril
Cyril to do what?
to take notes?
No, Cyril is going to probably say, oh, you can fire ministers?
No,
I
Cyril's
don't
going to get
know.
a minister of crime in prisons. We can just develop another minister to do nothing, to do vocal, Cyril.
In fact, Cyril probably called President Castro in Honduras and said, I've got a retired judge if you need an inquiry.
I think he phoned to say, my man, you're making the rest of us look bad. Some of us don't fire our staff when they do cuck. You're making us look bad.
Redeploy him, comrade.
Yeah.
Redeploy him.
No. Can you imagine? No, guys. I can't. Because I know, like, I've seen the polls more TikTok stuff. Like, you know, I know how prisoners do TikTok.
Okay.
Then they just slap each other. It's like, you've just arrived in prison. Welcome to your cell. Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's pretty rough. But
This poll's more
machine
TikTok.
guns.
Machine guns, Doug.
Oh, man, that's...
So even if you're a woman, don't go to prison in Honduras. Apparently the gangs there are hectic, and it gets that hectic.
Look, my rule in life is just don't go to prison. Whether you male, female, doesn't matter. Whatever you identify as, prison's not for you.
We're going to drag identity politics into this.
Look,
But-
you
but-
have to.
But what if you identify as an inmate?
Then you must have the time of your life. Then you, what is that guy's name? John Mongrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Papa wag vir jou. I heard the most disturbing. I don't know if we can talk about.
Let's talk about
No,
it.
because I saw a documentary once on prisoners in South Africa, and they were like, when you go into a men's prison, and you know that thing about don't drop the soap.
Oh, yes.
It's not even true, because when you pick the soap up, you assume that they'd come from back. Then I heard, no, they lay you on your back and look you in your eyes while they do the things to you, while they make sweet, passionate love to you.
Isn't that what happened in Yizo Yizo? Or was Yizo Yizo from the back? I'm trying to remember. It was
No,
like 2000.
my parents never used to let
4,
me watch Yuzu.
Yeah.
I was still young.
It's on Netflix now, so I think
No, I
it's just-
saw. I'll check it out.
You check it out just so that you know how they did it.
Can't-
Also, they don't even wait.
Yeah, face to
So they let you pick the soap up.
Yeah, then they're like, come here.
Yeah.
Papa, wag vir jou. No, I'm not for president. I'm too cute. Guys, admit it, I'm too cute for president. Fresh, even you with your soft skin. You're going to be a lot of person to love. Yay! No, thank you. That's crazy, though.
You think you can be a polygamist in prison?
No.
Like have two guys whose pockets turned out pockets you're holding as you're walking through.
Yeah, so you can do that. Yeah, you hold their pockets as practice for when you pick up the soap.
When last were you downtown Joburg?
Downtown Joburg,
As in downtown Joburg.
as in like Mourning, before Mourning, even that side. Dude, years. I just see the videos
Yeah.
of how people get robbed via things and then I don't.
So on Wednesday night, was it Wednesday night or Thursday, an abandoned building went up in smoke. It had people that lived in it, as one does in Joburg.
Yeah.
And 2 kids died. And our non-matriculant mayor showed up, as politicians do, outside this burnt-out building. And the first thing he said was the building did not comply. Of course it didn't comply.
Because it's an abandoned.
It's an abandoned building. At what stage would it comply with an abandoned building?
Yes, who's supposed to come make it comply?
It's your office that are supposed to clean up downtown.
Yeah, as the mayor, should you not have people that are protecting these buildings and making sure that they are not occupied by vagrants? And
It's actually upsetting that hijacked buildings and building hijackings persist because there is no will to fix that problem. I mean, Kenny was mayor for 2 days,
Yeah.
and at least he raided one building.
yeah, that's
know.
why I was only mayor for 2 days. Like, hey, are you doing your job? How dare you do your job? Leave. Putsack.
But I don't think there's a political will to clean up downtown Joburg. If there was, these abandoned buildings would not carry on as they are. They wouldn't. You would not have slumlords taking a building and demanding rent of people to live in there. People shouldn't be living in such squalor, but there's no political will to fix it.
I don't think there's a political will to fix anything in the country, unfortunately. Like, I've always been an advocate for South Africa. One of those, I'm not leaving. I love South Africa.
Yeah.
Best country, most beautiful, most amazing people. But it's at a point where nothing's getting better. It's terrifying for me, who has 2 little kids, going how, especially I have colored kids. Both my children are strong coloreds.
So you guys are the indigo. The indigo children are the future, bro.
That's what they say.
I'm looking for Buddha Mesa right now, so that maybe if we're indigo children, we'll ever pass into the next
No, but you see,
colony.
Yeah, but now for me, no, there's no. What is that new compliance? Not compliance. They don't want to employ colored people. That's what I heard. I don't know what this.
No. It's bullshit. I think it's fear mongering and not understanding. I think is it the Employment Equity
Act something.
Yes. I think sometimes let's not listen to politicians who wanna spread fear. And have people unsettled without reading everything first.
No, for sure.
And often we do that.
I don't follow news
Yeah.
because it depresses me
Yeah.
to see things that are out of my control.
Sure.
So that I only believed in that because it was sent to me by somebody that I trust and believe goes and does the thing.
And that's precisely the effect that
problem.
they want.
Yes.
That's
No.
precisely
I
what
get
they want.
you.
But
I
anyway,
get
yes, so you fear because you've got 2 strong colored kids, but
Well, okay, now you've taken the colored out of the thing, but I've got 2 kids that
Yeah.
I don't see.
you
a
can keep the
future
colored
for
in. It's fine.
No, but I don't see a future for them in South Africa. I was always the person that would say, Go and study overseas if you want to go and achieve whatever you want to achieve. Come back and help make South Africa better.
Yeah.
But now I don't see the possibility of South Africa improving unless we change the government, and even changing the government doesn't fix the problem, because now you just have the next group of people coming in who have their opportunity now to line their pockets. That's what I believe personally.
So what is we going to do, Goliath?
I feel
there's
like
three of you. I'm sure there's a solution between the three of you.
we have the power. As the people, we have the power. The only problem is we can't come together and have a consensus and go, cool, we're giving the ANC 4 years.
Yeah.
If they don't do their job, we move on to the next one. Whether it's DA, EFF, I don't care who the party is. I care about, let's get somebody who can do the job.
Sure.
But now, as a country, we're busy fighting because you black, I'm colored, he's white, they Xhosa, they Zulu, they Sotho. You know, so we end up fighting each other, and then the people in power just keep lining their pockets and don't fix anything.
But we can't fix anything until the retired judge is done with the commission, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
And retired judges need jobs too.
what are they going to do?
Come up with a R1 billion report and say this is the problem.
Yeah, there's the problem. And then the people who have to deal with the problem put the report there and say, thanks for your work. Thank you. We appreciate. We're gonna get a new commissioner or a new commission together, or we're going to get a new minister of retired judges. I don't know.
So we're fucked.
I personally think we are. And I hate to say it, especially on a platform with you. Like here, the most positive, a beacon of South Africa and what greatness can be achieved.
Yeah.
And now I'm here going, I don't know if everybody has the same opportunities. If we're going, I look at the area that I live in.
Yeah.
In the past 10 years, the amount of crime that's taken over in the area, from petty crimes to housebreaking to more serious crimes.
Yeah.
And nothing's being done. And it's a problem that everybody speaks about. That's everywhere. How do we fix that?
The electorate doesn't learn that.
No.
There's a saying that you get the leadership you deserve. So we have the leadership we deserve because that's who was voted in.
Yes, because we're too busy fighting each other when we should be fighting the leadership. We should be deciding who runs the country. But instead, we want to fight with you. Whenever something happens on social media,
Yeah.
somebody, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
you always find the racial aspect come up.
The race card is never far.
Always.
The train always arrives.
We talk about load shedding, people go, we are the white people. Why are they not saying anything? We are the black people. We are the colored people. So then we end up fighting each other. Nobody's fighting ESCOM. You know? So how do we fix the problem when our focus is here on each other and not on the actual problem?
Nicholas Goliath, we turn to comedians such as yourself to fix our lives an hour at a time. Where are you performing when? Where do we catch you in action?
So we're launching actually this week, and I don't know when this is going out, but this weekend, 23rd, 24th, 25th,
Yeah.
we're at Artistry in Sandton.
Yes.
Jay Something's new place. So we're launching the Artistry Comedy Club, and we'll be running shows there every Sunday.
That is dope.
Going forward from
So who's
July.
we?
So Goliath and Goliath have
okay.
partnered with Artistry.
Okay, so the Goliath cabal.
The Goliath Cartel. Yes.
Cartel, yes.
Yeah, we always said if things go really bad, we're going to start a church and call it the Holy Trinity, because then it's tax-free, and then people love to they'll give to the church before they come and watch comedy. I don't know how it works.
I thought they're going to look at 1/3 of you and say, this one is eating the money, so we don't know if we want to continue giving.
No, we're going to keep him in the back. Let's keep him in the back. He's the face that actually needs to attract the people.
He'll be there drinking the communion at the back there.
Yeah. Every week is communion week at the Holy Trinity. Yeah.
Nicholas, thank you so much for hanging out with us, brother man.
Thank you for having me.
I'm a Goliath fan.
I'm a fresh fan.
No, I said I'm a big fan.
You are a big guy.
Exactly. So shout out to you. Shout out to everything that you do.
Thank you.
And you guys must continue kicking ass. And we'll see you at Artistry every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Artistry is on Fredman Drive.
Yes.
In a big black building.
Yes, opposite Black Brick Hotel. It's the
Opposite
same.
Black Brick, exactly. It's the same family.
Same family,
The
same people.
cousins of
and
front
you
opposite.
can do staycations. You can come there, book a room for the weekend. They're dirt cheap. Go online. Just go and see. Go and see now. This is artistry.co.za. I don't know if I'm allowed to advertise, but we're doing it here. Come and watch comedy. You need to laugh. South Africa's in Kak. Come and laugh with us. It's going to be fun. Fresh is going to be there.
Oh, am I invited?
You're always invited.
Okay,
You
I'll
came
do
and
that.
did comedy at One of our first shows we ever started.
I did a 5-minute set of
Yes.
the first shows.
And you were amazing.
If you do say so yourself. I actually posted online my 5 minutes of comedy that I did.
At our
So that
Wednesday comedy jam.
I should be a fourth Goliath.
You should.
Absolutely. Nicholas, thank you so much, brother man.
Thank you, man.
Minus his appendix, but never his funny bone. Make some noise for Nicholas Goliath.
This is
What a week.
What a Week. Tech.
Our next guest is one of those people who might be difficult to chat with in an elevator. But they'll be the type of people you call first when your little submarine goes missing, looking for the Titanic. Or something goes wrong with your tech. Maybe a virus mutates humans. Or a huge alien spacecraft arrives and hovers above central Johannesburg. Please give a WAW welcome to uber smart person. We're about to find out. Thulile Khanyile. Hello, Thulile.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yeah.
I can see you when you were younger. You know, angeke ngisukele,
No,
mina ngithulile.
I was that person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not Thulile at all.
Did you ever ask your parents, why did you give me that name when it's clear?
So the name is because they are generally very quiet people.
Yes,
So I was named after their character trait, but less quiet and more peaceful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, they're at peace with everything.
Yes.
You had a apply, and you have to explain what on earth you do. What do you do?
Look, I mean, I think there are two things. I'm a scientist, and really my life is centered around ensuring that science reaches as many people as possible.
Okay.
So in the first aspect, I myself am a scientist, so I conduct research in the HIV field.
I thought you guys would be in like white trench coats and like white coats.
Oh, mine is like a nice peach color. It's
Jeez,
very cool.
things have changed. Science is going to the dog scars.
No ways.
Yeah.
We're allowed to be nice and trendy now. So in the first instance, that's really what I do at
Sure.
the University of the Witwatersrand, and I lecture there. So doing quite a lot of knowledge transfer to students. But then a bigger portion of my life, perhaps than that, is Ngatu Dojo Propeller, where we really are trying to get science and technology and innovation and the culture of it into the most marginalized spaces so that we equip more and more people to be able to be engaged in solving problems.
What about science said to you, that's where you're going to Lee?
I think it was almost accidental, right? For me, I initially, like a lot of people who are in the life sciences, wanted to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I'm not. But when I was in university, then I found out about the back end of medicine. And I think that for me was more suited for my more inquisitive nature, my more investigative side. And that would, for me, make sense. I'm interested in process, understanding how things work, figuring things out. So science would then make sense for me.
So, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, you specialize more in what, HIV research?
Yeah.
So what is the science saying about our taking so long to get to 95, 95, 95?
Look, I mean, I think
Firstly, what is 95, 95, 95?
so 95, 95, 95 is looking at it's the measures that are being used within the management of HIV. So you're looking at 95% of people being tested. You test and treat.
Okay, so 95% of people knowing that status.
Knowing their status, 95% on treatment and 95% suppressed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Viral suppression,
Yeah, which would lead to zero transmissions then,
which should technically,
theoretically.
speaking, so if everybody was virally suppressed,
Yes.
you would be able to perhaps get some mathematician to do some predictive model for when HIV would stop being transmissible. You know,
But because
I think
human
we're
nature
far.
gets in the way,
It's compliance. Compliance is so hard. I think compliance is hard. People actually getting medication in very remote areas is still actually really a difficult thing to do.
Sure.
People just not testing, right? And I mean, those are the kind of issues. And sometimes people aren't testing because they don't have access,
Sure.
to testing, facilities.
And there's also human nature aspect that says it can't happen to me. Or I'm invincible.
Yeah, really. I mean, you were reckless, but you feel strongly that this thing is not going to affect you.
Absolutely.
Because you are Hercules.
So how do we fix all of that? Just before we talk about the other wonderful work you're doing, how do we fix that? Like, in a nutshell, what would you like to see happen?
I mean, there is so HIV is very much a social disease, right? It really is about human interaction.
Sure.
And where human interaction is concerned, there's always someone who's got an upper hand and a lower hand. So there's a dependence that takes place, which is what is actually leading, particularly in South Africa, the increase or the continuous number of young people getting infected. It's that there's a dependence that's caused by
The power dynamic.
The power dynamics, the
Yes.
poverty chasm. So if we were...
I'll buy you groceries, but if we're having sex, I don't use condoms.
I don't use a condom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's those kind of things. But firstly, but also secondly, there is a mental thing. I don't know, within us as human beings that wants to tell us that sex isn't as nice without or with or whatever. And we're
I'd rather risk it all
I'd rather risk
for
it.
those 2 minutes.
You know what I mean? We are really driving this narrative that
Sure.
says it's not as nice without, But also there's just a bigger issue around awareness where people are not, I don't know if we're doing enough to still educate people around HIV. I think because of the advent of ARV drugs and how we're seeing that mortality rates have decreased, I think we're spending less time now communicating and making people more aware about HIV. I mean, nobody wants to be on drugs for the rest of their lives, which is actually what's going to happen.
But also, what of fatigue, though? Many argue that there's, HIV and AIDS education fatigue, that the minute you start talking about it, people switch off.
Sure. I mean, I think that's a real thing. And I think it speaks to whether or not the packaging of the information is still relevant. I think what we tend to do with the education system, and the whole world, the world over does this, where we're still delivering in the same manner that was delivered for me to a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old in the same way it was delivered to my parents. We're getting the same form of delivery. The packaging of the content isn't great. We're not using, we're not being creative around awareness. But also I think that, there's something that, I don't know, I think American TV does this well, where they introduce a trendy young woman who's the super nerd or super scientist into pretty much skim sum or whatever, and that's how they drive content to civic society.
They make it cool.
They make it cool and they package it into popular narrative, which is something that we're not doing yet in the country. And that's like something that really we should be doing because we're creating more and more content as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your life. Young black woman scientist lecturing at a university. Often when you think science lecturer at university, it's an elderly white man, grey hair, lab coat that's seen better days, and knowledge of every conceivable world war out there. How easy or difficult was it for you to be taken seriously within?
Look, I mean, I suppose the difficulty continues.
Yeah. Okay, so you are fighting the battle daily.
I mean, it depends. I mean, there's a way to fight it, and there's a way to accept how situations are, and act in a way that enables those who come from a different way of thinking about young black women having space in these corridors to see you differently. You have to, you can't focus on the fact that your order was forgotten because they forget that you're a lecturer. They think you're a student. Or someone literally calls you, students like you, and it's a little condescending, but for me, I think at the beginning, I sort of said to myself, why would these people do this? Honestly, why would they do this? Is it intentional?
Make you feel unseen.
Is it intentional that they want to make me feel unseen? Or is it just that as much as we are being put into the system because the system doesn't have us, the people that are supposed to receive us have never seen us?
Yes.
Now we're forcing
They don't know
them.
better.
They don't know any better. Now we're asking these white old people to understand that you've now walked in through the door, so they must accept you
As a
the
colleague,
way.
as an equal.
Do you know what I mean? But every time they've seen a person like you,
You're bringing tea.
it's, you know what I mean?
Or
doing something
you're
else.
failing in front of them.
Absolutely. But it's also, there's a lot of pressure from that. There's so much pressure from that, even from black people. and there's a lot of responsibility that you now have to be a little bit more out there, because we want to talk to a person who's black, young, and doing something that, or is in a space that's not usually suited for these kind of people. You know what I mean? So there is a lot of pressure there as well. So there's a lot of navigating and juggling of balls,
I was going to say, how wild is it, though, that, not only are you dealing with wanting to feel included by the old guard, but even your own people will do a double take.
They do a double take. All of a sudden, you're the same as us, but you are different.
Yes.
So you can offer us different
It's like,
things.
where's the real professor?
That is true. That is true. Even with students, funny enough, you find students, and particularly the black ones sometimes, especially when I was much younger, because I started lecturing, I was 28, 29. So it was like one of those where they're just like, oh, are you a lecturer? But you're wearing Timbs. I'm like, but why not?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
The science is not in the shoes.
It's not in the shoes, not at all. But you do see that you're being tested, and people are asking you questions to sort of see whether you can answer.
You're being measured.
Yes.
As opposed to, she's in front of me, so she must damn well deserve to be
Exactly.
there. Let me take her seriously. Now you're wasting half the time trying to prove yourself right, as opposed to doing your job.
But it also makes them pay more attention, because everyone is just like, is she gonna trip?
Waiting for it to trip.
Yeah, she's gonna trip. I gotta we do like these reviews, and one of the students in the review wrote in black and it wrote in Zulu and said, "Ngicela ungasiphoxi bandla, ngicela ungasiphoxi," and I was just like, what? This is insane.
Like, you have one job.
Exactly.
You have one job.
Don't disappoint us. We're all rooting for you.
Let's talk about what you do when you're not at work,
Sure.
because you work all the time,
Sure.
Including looking after a little dog. Is it called Electron?
Yes, my dog is Electron.
Why did you name a dog Electron?
He's a bundle of energy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a bundle of energy, that's why.
What breed is he?
He's a Pomeranian.
Oh, you got one of those little...
He's so cute.
Jeez. Anyway, so you want to get science into townships and to get township kids to understand that, yes, it's okay. It's cool to be a STEM student. Tell us about that work you're doing, and who are you working with?
Yeah, so back in 2016, Thandeka Mhlanga and I founded Nkatsuto Asia Propeller, and we met as master's students. We were at the CSIR, and she was doing her master's in physics, and I was doing it in biophotonics. And what we felt was a problem with academia was our understanding of the amount of money that actually goes into research, but the output is not that great. And now we really are under pressure. Our economy is under pressure to produce intellectual property that can be sold and that can be exported into other countries. But what we decided to do was look at the mindset of our supervisors, and we realized that these people don't have a business acumen, because the curriculum doesn't tell you that science is what is going to lead you to getting the biggest slice of bread. Instead of eating albani, you're going to eat rye and, nice, but you can use science to advance yourself. So what we decided to do was go into young people in high schools and try to build in them, using STEM concepts, an entrepreneurial mindset, a job-seeking mindset, where we say to them basically, this is research, and this is how research is conducted. This is the process that research follows. You identify a problem, you hypothesize, you create some kind of a solution, and then you have the solution, and it's beautiful. And then after you've done that, then create a business case for it. So the essence of our program is that. So we then are able to put in mentorship support. So because we've been in the industry for a relatively long time, we've got masters and PhD friends, and now not friends. So we've got quite a big community that enables us to drive and scale our program. So these masters and PhD students do the mentoring, do the facilitating. We train them to facilitate the workshops. These kids do projects, and then these masters and PhDs, these young professionals, then do the judging. And then we get young business owners to come in and teach these young people what marketing is, how to pitch, and so that they're able to create their own pitch decks and their own business concepts, and the program runs a whole year. And we have, besides the besides the young professionals and Tandega and myself, we have an incredible young team.
Sure.
I think there's 5 of them, so there's like 7 of us now. And then we also have incredible partners that have been supporting us for years.
So if I want to be a part of Ngatuto Edu Propeller, where do I find you guys?
So we've got a website, and you can contact us through our website. So it's www.ngatutoedu.org.za.
Okay.
We're also on all social media platforms, and we're quite active. So if you look up Ngatuto Edu Propeller, you're likely to find us pretty much everywhere. So that's how you would find us.
What are your biggest needs right now?
Our biggest needs right now, operational funds.
Okay.
People are happy to fund activities, but operations are difficult. But we can't continue to posture as if goodwill work is not work.
Yes, so you still need a space.
Do you know what I
need
mean?
The data. You still need internet.
Yes.
People still need at least money
Salaries.
to travel to and from work. Yes,
So that's it now. But also we really want to scale into more areas, and touch more lives, and funding is always something that we're going to need, but pretty much those are our biggest needs. I mean, if myself and Utandega could stop, I know our staff work full time, but if Tandega and I didn't have to have another job,
okay, so
it would be great.
Okay, so if all things being equal, a 9 to 5 is not your best friend right now.
We would be full-time here because the opportunities are so great here and the need is so high here, especially now because we have an alumni population that's post-school, and our kids have graduated and some of them run their own businesses. So it's really important for us to scale and grow that.
Where do we find you on social media? What do you post about on your social media?
Ngatuto posts about the work that we do.
Okay.
That's what Ngatuto posts about.
Okay.
So I think our recent post, maybe one of our students was profiled on, I think, at TV's SABC or something. So we're posting a lot on Tepiso being, spotlighting him. And we had an alumni.
So Tepiso is a name we ought to remember.
Tepiso Malema, yes. You guys ought to remember that name. He's incredible. And I mean, a lot of our young people are really incredible. Or you'll find, because now we have an alumni community, we have now brought in our beneficiaries that were in high school 5-6 years ago to assist us in driving the agenda and the mandate of the organization, because the reality of the matter is that we're getting older and getting more and more detached from our beneficiaries. So you'll find posts about our alumni, about the activities that we ran or we run, so it's quite an active space. And I'll post about everything. That is my life.
So based on the work that Ngatuto is doing, would you say our future is bright and safe?
Look, I mean, I think if we had more spaces that engaged young people in ways that saw young people, our future will be bright if we do that. If we don't impose our own biases on them, and we listen to what they've got to say, because there's this thing around young people are not engaged. They don't know what's going on. If I brought in 7 of my kids here, they could tell you what's happening with the submarine, with the brigade. They'll tell you what's happening in Ukraine. They're so engaged. I mean, one of them started a political party at school,
That is dope.
at university. So these kids are engaged. It's just that we're not giving them the space to engage
We don't know how to
with
activate it.
issues.
Yes.
The way that they want to engage with issues.
What I love about the work you're doing is because often we have a victim mentality when we look at circumstances around us, as opposed to, okay, that is the problem, and I know there's a solution. Why can't I be the one that comes up with a solution? Why can't I be the one that monetizes that solution and become a millionaire eventually? And I think that the sooner we can have young people thinking, being solutions driven, I think that, we can only fly as a country.
That's very true. I mean, one of the things that we say when they come up with solutions is, like young people like to say, no, we'll go to the government and the government goes. I'm just like, let's pretend the government doesn't exist.
Exactly. You're on your own.
You're on your own. The government doesn't exist. How are you going to solve this problem? But I think even beyond solving problems, Fresh, it's giving young people the space and the permission to actually identify problems and call them out.
And to make mistakes if they make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are really important things. Yeah, no, we don't want to celebrate victimhood and victim mindset.
On behalf of everyone that's watching right now, especially young black kids in townships that want to be part of the solution, I want to thank yourself and Tandeka, and all the best to Nka Tuto Edu Propeller.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's cool to see a black, fun, dynamic Sheldon Cooper. She may not have been there when the Big Bang Theory happened, but she's part of the light. That's our future. Ladies and gentlemen, Thulile Khanyile.
This is
What a week.
What a Week. Celebrity guest.
Celebrity guest.
She's one of those people you feel you've known for years, because in a sense, we all have. In fact, due to people's fascination with soap operas, many people have seen more of her than they have seen some of their own family members. Please give a warm welcome to, not Garabo, Constance.
Okay. Let's say the full birth certificate name, why don't we?
Welcome, former Miss Ellerines, Constance Marcelo. Miss Ellerines.
Oh my goodness, you're taking me back.
Oh, welcome. Don't you think God has a wicked sense of humor that you're Miss Ellerines and you fell in love and married someone whose parents owned a furniture shop?
Absolutely. The funny thing is, we used to joke about it so much.
Yeah?
Like so much. Because, Show's dad managed a furniture shop.
Barons.
Barons,
Yes.
that's correct.
I used to walk past there. I used to always walk past this like my parents don't work hard enough. So I'd walk in and I'd greet Shona's parents, the dad, on the showroom floor, because he was there every day. So as I was walking in the main mall in Gaborone,
Yes.
you always walk in just to greet.
Sure.
And also hoping that they're there, or, for whatever reason.
Yes.
I'd always be some, why are my parents not buying this furniture here? What's going on?
Hey, man. Because those were like...
Absolutely. So you turned 53.
Recently.
53 has never looked this good.
Aw, thank you.
Do you feel as good as you're looking?
I don't feel 53.
No, not at all. Yes.
Yeah.
But you're also at peace with your age, because you don't hide your age. You're not dyeing your hair.
Well, I am from time to time when I get bored. So when I get bored, I either dye my hair or I cut it.
But you're not hiding.
No, I'm not hiding.
You're not hiding the pepper color.
Definitely not.
Is that a conscious thing, or did it take a while for you to make peace with, I'm on the 5th floor now?
It didn't take a while at all. I think because I just never overthink my age. I feel like every year you get 1 year older. It just is what it is. I think it's more on how you feel.
Yes.
Inside. I think it's more, I have a childlike spirit, and I feed the child all the time. So I guess I will never feel my age ever.
Now, there's people who, because of the age thing, who almost go out of their way to either conceal who they are, or to hide who they are, or to seem like, Skampisa auntie. Don't call me Tani.
Yes.
When did you become comfortable with the woman you are, or the girl you were back then?
Growing up, I was either Connie or Konza,
Sure.
or Oskons. So that's when now the OC started.
Oh, okay. So it's like Grootman.
So it would be like Oskons.
Sure.
And then when I started being a boss, even Dimamzo or mums, right? And this is like to grown men, like a man your age would call me Dimamzo, right? But for some reason, I found a certain level of respect behind it. I didn't think it had anything to do with age. I didn't think that they were saying to me I'm old because I'm gray. It was more saying, you're a nurturer. You're like a mom to us, so it doesn't matter how old I am. You are Dimamzo. And I find it more a term of endearment than saying that I'm old.
Than saying, Magriza.
Than Magriza.
Is Magriza allowed?
Well, no one has called me Magriza yet, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I quite like Dimamzo. I think it's got some swag to it too.
So I remember when my daughter had her first child about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you making me a granddad? I just wanted her second one. I was like, why are you making me a granddad?
Yeah.
How is being a grandmother for you?
Best feeling ever.
yeah.
Lisette will tell you. I mean, she's done a couple of her own interviews where she would mention that, when she found out that she was pregnant, she freaked out, obviously. Number one, because I think she didn't know how I was going to react.
How old was she at the time?
She was, how old is Roro? Is 8. She's 30, so she was 22.
Okay. Okay, she was a woman.
She was a woman. Like, I'm more or less the same age that I had her, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the way I found out that she was pregnant, she didn't tell me. So her doctor called my phone to say, Miss Lisedi, your results came back. It's my phone. Because she was on my medical aid at the time.
Yes.
Miss Lisedi, your results came back, and congratulations, you're going to be a mommy. No, this is how I'm finding out. My poor child.
Didn't you look down as like, no, this is not for me?
That's not for me.
Yeah.
At the time, I think she's still struggling with how am I going to break the news to my mom? And, so in a way, I think it worked in her favor because it took that burden off her of having to tell me herself. Because then I just went to her room and go,
Sure.
I believe I'm going to be a grandma. You should have seen the look on her face, though. It was priceless. But no, I've been loving it, hey? And also having a little boy in the house because I never had boy children.
Yeah, you need
So
like
it's
tiny testosterone running around.
Listen, and at the time, Shaw also had someone to balance him, because he was like the only guy in the house.
Yeah, he was the man.
He was
Never
steering, but Ro came and took over.
Sure.
Yeah.
In fact, Shona was your steering in like more ways than one.
Every way, in every way.
I can't even try and imagine how when you've been with someone almost every single day of your life since 2001,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden nothing. That's wild.
Even just talking about it is wild, right? Because it's almost like talking about it just keeps making it more and more and more real. That what, we keep talking about this, so this is like
It's real.
it's real. But the funny thing with Show is it's almost 2 years now, hey? So end of July it will be exactly 2 years without him physically. But he's just been so present, though. I think we just have so many memories together that. And Show was like a big personality, man. You just don't forget someone.
Since we were kids, he was actually a big personality since we were kids.
Listen, you knew him, right? So how do you forget someone like that? He's just unforgettable. So I think what I made peace with very quickly, and I thank God for that because I prayed about it a lot, was for me to not try to forget him, to numb the pain.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes people do that. You don't want to look at someone's pictures. You don't want to hear their voice. You don't want to listen to their videos.
You run away from the truth.
You run away from the truth because you feel like you're torturing yourself. You just want to forget. For me, the trick has actually been doing that over and over and over and over again and getting used to the new norm, like that now being part of my life. I don't want to forget him. I don't want to forget the sound of his voice or the sound of his laughter. I don't want to forget seeing
that laughter that caught your attention in
You know
2009.
what I mean? Oh my God, that laughter. So I don't want to forget. And I think that's actually made me reach a point of peace, I think faster than actually people believe I have. Do I have moments where I feel like I'm a Ropiula? Yeah, I still do.
It'll always feel unfair.
It'll always feel unfair. It'll always. I mean, he was only 47. And I think just us as a couple and, we were about to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. I will always feel like a Ropiula, but who am I to question God?
Sure.
I still feel like it wasn't his time. And yeah, it's still strange. I still, I'll go about my day, but I'll go home and, we'll talk about him with the kids. We'll play games. We'll mimic him. We'll have fun. We'll be laughing. It'll be funny. Sometimes we'll cry. And then I'll go to my room and it'll be quiet.
Yeah.
2 years later.
A loud silence.
That still feels weird to me. That silence before I sleep. When I waking up alone, that still feels weird to me. So, I keep saying, Jorge, the thing with grief for me is that I'm never going to say I'm at this stage of grieving in my life. I know I'll always be grieving my husband. So I'm just moving with it.
Sure.
And flowing with it. Whatever I feel today, if I wasn't feeling great and I felt like, oh, you're fresh, I won't be able to do your show, man.
You allow it.
I allow it. I just flow with it. I go with it. But what I don't do is, I don't dwell in sadness. Because he was such a happy chap, man. You know my husband.
And there's still a lot to celebrate.
There's still a lot to celebrate.
I remember getting a phone call. A friend says, like, Sis Connie would like you to speak at the memorial. I was like, no, why me? Like, what am I going to say?
You knew exactly why you...
No, but you know, at the time, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, because now...
Dudu, am I allowed to call you Dudu on air?
No, Dundu.
Dundu,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, that was one of my
that's why
nicknames.
you know, shows Dundu. I mean, you guys shared so many childhood memories together. I mean, I didn't know a lot of people in his life from a young age. You were one of those that he spoke a lot about. Mike Mpeo was one of those that he spoke, a big Mike, that he spoke a lot about. So for me, it was just natural that here in Joburg, your name just came up. Because I know he would have wanted that too. I know he would have wanted someone to represent not just what he's represented, you know, as an older guy.
But the early years.
But the early years, you know, someone that knew him from then and that also understood him in the industry.
What did you learn about show at his memorial? Because it's often when people are speaking about someone when they're gone that you learn new things.
Yeah. Look, I've always known that he was loved, right? It was just impossible to not love Show. He was just that guy. But I think what I learned is that he was more than just loved. He actually touched people's lives. I mean, I saw what I saw when I was with him, but I feel like there's also so much I didn't see.
Absolutely.
That I got to learn about from, you know, the people that had the opportunity to speak about him, and the people that had the opportunity to come to me directly and say, you know, thank you for sharing your husband with us. I think he lived, I mean, he was 47, but he lived such a full life. He really did. I don't think he would have wanted to go at that age. I know he fought. But he really lived a full life. I'm so proud of that guy, even today. And if there's anything that the way he lived his life has taught me, is to just live, to just live.
During the time of his fight, what conversations were you guys having at home?
Hey, he didn't fight for long, hey? I mean, we both got sick around the same time. I got sick first. And the way he was strong for me, because I was very sick. I was actually more sick than Shaw. And the way he was strong for me, like he was nursing me. And when I don't know, man, things just turned. And asthma, sinus, and all those things, that those underlying that we don't really take seriously, that we don't really know about. I think he just started having major problems with his breathing. And to be honest, I think initially, because he's a fit guy, a strong guy, the doctors didn't take it too seriously. And I kept reporting it because now I was with him and saw what he was going through.
Yes.
Yo, this guy is not okay. What do I do? And then he was stubborn. Initially, he didn't want to go to the hospital or be admitted.
My doctor yelled at me the day after I was diagnosed with COVID. I was doing a 5-kilometer walk in my yard.
Yeah.
My doctor's like, what are you doing? She's resting.
Yeah.
So we are stubborn.
No, we are stubborn, but I did the walks also. I'm also stubborn. And for me, I felt like I needed to keep moving.
Yes.
Because my body was sore. I was aching all. So I didn't want to feel sick, because then, you know, also COVID was so scary. Because when you just let yourself feel sick, then it's like you're dying, right? So I didn't want to feel, I needed to feel like I was still in control of my body. So I think maybe the capacity of my lungs was able to handle it, and maybe he not so much.
Sure.
He was diagnosed on the 26th of June. 3rd of July, he was admitted for the first time in hospital. The next Friday, he was discharged because he seemed a little better. The night of that Friday, I things just went downhill the night of that Friday. And the next morning he was admitted again, and then it was just ICU after that.
Jeez.
So I almost feel like if he hadn't been discharged
The first time.
and they just kept him there
Maybe had to fight.
and monitored, because his infection markers had started going up again slightly. So for them to discharge him when his infection markers are going up already is an issue. They should have kept him to observe what's changing, what is the change. But I think, again, he was such a stubborn guy. And because he felt a little better, he thought, no, man, I'll recuperate from home. But, it is what it is.
We're here.
It happened. We are here. We find ourselves in this position that we didn't wish upon ourselves. And we have to keep on moving.
Do you remember your first ever Carpet Sunday? Because I lived for those.
You lived for those? Oh, man. I don't remember the first one exactly, but I think I remember the memorable one. That we had so many. But the one that stands out is he had a sweet tooth, right? So we were laying on the carpet. It was himself, myself, and Alicia. And what we would normally do, Billy, is we'd play music. And we'd lay there playing music, and we were eating red velvet cake. And he was very camera friendly. He was very quick with his phone, so he captured a lot of moments. It's like he knew.
In fact, he stole you a lot on camera.
He did. It's like he knew that I was going to need all these memories. It's like he was literally compiling all this for me. What a gift. What a gift. And we were laying there and just making, because he was a funny guy, making jokes and laughing. And in those moments, we would find ourselves having, we used to call them DMCs.
Deep, meaningful chats.
Yeah, deep and meaningful conversations, we call them.
Very important.
Very, very important. So we used to do that with our kids a lot. Lie there and then just chat about anything under the sun. Because with Shaw as well, it was very important for him, for us, not to only be our children's parents, but for our children to trust us enough to know that we can be their friends as well. They don't need to go to the outside for advice, or, if they are freaked out about something and they feel like, hey, other parents, you say this to them and this is going to happen, they must know that my parent may not agree, but they'll never judge. They will advise and guide, but at the end of the day...
You'll never be made to feel regret about opening up to a parent.
No.
And a lot of kids are scared of that.
A lot of kids are scared of that. And I think, Rona, that we consciously made that decision to say they should never be afraid to talk to us about anything.
How's your relationship with red velvet cake now?
I love red velvet cake. I love red velvet cake, but with vanilla sponge cake, so the combo. I don't like chocolate cake. Yeah.
Now, after we said goodbye to Shaw, you then did a Carpet Sunday alone. How easy or difficult was that? Did it feel natural, or did you have to convince yourself that you have to do this, you have to do this?
So the thing about that Carpet Sunday was I didn't even think about it. I didn't. It was in the very early stages of my grief. I didn't really have an outlet for it. And I know that when Shaw didn't have an outlet, he would just take his phone and record something. So when I recorded it, it was more for me. The intention was not to post it.
Sure.
It was really just an outlet for me. But after I recorded it, I think I was just led to post because I just feel like we lost so much. So many people lost so much, man. Because of COVID.
He belonged to the industry.
He belonged to the industry. And not just, now I'm just not just talking about show.
Or counting the cost.
everywhere. People lost.
Remember at the memorial, I mentioned 8 people that we grew up with that we lost to COVID. 8
Yeah.
that we were in primary school with and high school with. Shona was one of those 8.
Yeah.
So the cost of COVID is insane.
Oh, it's oh my God.
Because we're losing a lot of people who were captains of industry.
Yes.
So the brain drain, COVID alone, I don't even think we've counted that cost yet.
It was a lot. So the reason I shared that message was because I knew I was not alone. And I knew, obviously, because of our standing in society, a lot of people were worried about me. People were worried about how I was coping, how I was dealing. And that was part of how I was coping and how I was dealing. So I thought I'd just share that. And it touched a lot of people, that message. I don't know what my intention was in posting it. It just happened.
It was special.
It was special. And
Because
it gave people hope.
I was watching you and I was like, yo, dude, is that a tear on your left? What are you doing? You see that tear? That tear is back.
Yeah, no, and because of that message and a couple of other little things that I've posted here and there, I've had conversations with a lot of women, especially wives who lost their spouses, about how a lot of them wanted to take their own lives because they didn't know how they were going to make it through without their partners, their life partners. And because Sho and I were so open about how we loved each other and about how we connected, and very organically so, right? A lot of people got to witness us,
yes,
and to experience us.
No, that was our marriage.
Yeah,
we all
exactly. We all married. We were married to the nation. So, I suppose the fact that I could crawl a little and move and not be stuck in one place kind of gave the next woman permission to do the same thing, to say, we have seen how they were. She is hurting. We can only imagine how much she's hurting, but she is trying to move. She is not just sitting there hurting and feeling sorry for herself. She's making an effort to move. And I suppose that's all I could have hoped to achieve, really.
And yours was a different kind of love because, like I said earlier, you were literally together every single day.
It was unreal.
Like every single day. There was no gaspanning, it's reaspanning.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to have to unlearn that or get used to a different reality, it's a task and a half. And I think on behalf of people that you gave hope in crawling again and wearing your heart on your sleeve about that, I want to say thank you. Because I fully understand what it would mean to those people. And I fully understand why you would do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially in a world where people almost want to police how people mourn. It's like, yeah, no nasa letata at the memorial. Or why are you out partying already? Or why aren't you wearing black today? Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? You know, it's almost like you're not allowed to mourn your way.
Yeah.
And it's wild that we live in a society like that now.
Yeah.
That social media polices how people mourn, especially women. It's actually more on women,
It is.
not men.
It is. And there's no fairness in that, right? Especially because in the times that we live in now, times are different. Women are different. Women's roles in society are different. Before, I mean, back in the day, you know, a woman would be allowed to mourn for 6 months wearing black clothes, stay at home. Sometimes a year. Stay at home, you don't work. So if your spouse passes on and you're the woman left behind, you're the breadwinner, all these liabilities now lie on your shoulders. And you're supposed to sit at home and mourn for 6 months, a year.
And have people feel pity.
And have people feel
About
bad.
one of things share.
Le wena o ikutlwela botlhoko. I mean, you know, who wants it's almost like a sififi. You apere sififi, and you allow sififi so to stay because you dwell in it and you wallow in it. I think people should be allowed to mourn in a way that actually frees their spirit, so that they can move.
And allows them to move.
Yeah, so that they can move and so that they don't resent their partners for leaving them. They can remember them and honor them and celebrate them. For me, life is about celebration. You have to celebrate the people that meant something to you. And how do you do that when you're heavy and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're dark? You're just in this dark bubble and you can't move. So yeah, I did things, I suppose you could say, my own way, for a lot of various reasons. I mourned. I observed mourning in other ways as well. For 3 months, I didn't leave home before the sun was up. I didn't get back home before or after dark.
After dark, yes.
So tsatsi ne di mphirimela ko lapeng,
Yes,
ne di ntlhabela ko lapeng. I observed that for 3 months.
Why was that important? for
Even
you?
when I started going back to work, like they worked around those times to say, we don't call her before sun. The sun needs to be up before she comes to work, and she needs to be home before the sun goes down. Only because for me it's part of tradition, or how I grew up.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to retain something that I would have been able to work with, right? And I could work with that.
Sure.
I needed to do something consciously and tangible to give myself time to be still and just remember him and khapeli fifi.
Yes.
Again, go ikapola si fifi seo. Ga o batla go tsamaya mo le fifi. You want, when that time hits your home,
Yeah, there's a method.
you're in a safe space.
There's a method to that madness.
100%. Yeah.
And those hours that Sis Connie's talking about, if we're not friends, don't call after those hours.
After those. Oh, and that's another thing that we practice heavily, right? We didn't take calls after a certain time, hey?
As it should be.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
Put your phone away. We're home now. This is our haven.
Yes. No, we didn't. Especially after 8 o'clock, phones off. We don't take calls. We don't. If it's about work, it's he and I.
Sure.
But people knew not to call us after a certain time. And that worked for us because it gave us ample time as a family to shut out the outside world and just focus on us.
To be present.
To be present.
And
so
and,
important.
and that's one thing I admire. I think not only about you two, but just about your family unit.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just for the gram. We don't know. We'll never know. But there's always in the momentness about everything that you allow the world into.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important because often we're not in the moment.
Yeah.
Even when we're doing things for the gram, we're not in that moment.
we always in the moment. I think it's just that with my family, everybody's so trigger happy with their phones. Like, especially my kids, there's so much like show in that way that they kept.
Nobody's safe.
We were never safe. You're literally never safe. I mean, I'm always scared on my birthday for, oh my goodness, what surprises am I going to get in terms of what
are they gonna show
I've
me?
captured exactly. So I think just capturing memories is such a thing for us. You can never, I mean, we used to have these same time cameras, right?
Oh, yes, the Polaroid.
The Polaroids.
Yes.
So those used to kind of capture memories back in the day, or then we had the normal cameras, but then you'd have to wait. We said kai for it
And a whole
process.
that wasn't exposed.
It wasn't exposed, and all of them come out clean. But now it's just at our fingertips. Like you can capture everything, literally.
Let's change gears a bit. The Queen happens.
Yes.
And thanks to you, my son Tato has, I think, over 500 episodes of The Queen on our PVR. You guys had a good run.
We did.
The end of the run, though, is in a period there that you're also mourning show. How did it feel going through those transitions in that period?
Yeah.
That this, the Queen was you guys' baby.
Yeah.
That was the first time I heard you swear. I remember I paused and I rewound. I was like, this Connie swears.
Or you posted something, I couldn't stop laughing. Really? Is it that weird? And also, it wasn't Sis Connie, right? That was Harriet, guy. It wasn't.
Yeah, Karabo swore, guys.
No, Harriet. Karabo didn't swear, eh?
No. Harriet ke Karabo. Karabo is Harriet. Harriet Karabo swore.
Wow. Oh, maybe you swore then. Let's just go there.
So obviously that's a totally different journey for you, playing Harriet.
Yeah.
Making TV at that level, making TV for that long,
Yes.
where not only are you the steering, but you're also the boss. And then it's the end of the season.
Yeah.
How do you deal with, I guess, the end of a journey at that level in your industry?
Okay, so this wasn't just a simple end of the journey because there was so much going on, right? It almost, where I could have looked at it as just the end of the journey, in the moment that it happened, it felt like another loss,
Exactly.
right?
Hence my ask.
Yes, it honestly felt like another loss. It felt like, really, God, I mean, come on, dude. Le ha go tweng.
Kopa break.
I think just give me but can I just get through what I'm feeling now? Can I grieve one thing at a time? Can allow me to be strong, and then you can throw this at me. But don't just like throw everything at me at the same time. I'm just one person. How am I supposed to be dealing with it? Already I'm feeling like I need my husband for this. And he's not here for this, so I'm doing my best here. Give me a break, man. Give a
And then you've got like a complement of staff. Baba shibilengwe.
And with Show and I, our staff were like our babies, hey? Which is why, hence the mamzo.
Yes.
Yeah, it was hard. Just those last couple of months trying to get to the end. A lot of changes happened in that time because obviously we expected to run the full year. But God will challenge you, but also give you the strength to get through the ish, because yes, initially it felt like a loss, but then as we were moving with my team, and please, I thank God for my team because I had such an incredible supportive team. We Libone, instead of feeling sorry for themselves and thinking, well, ish, now we have to go out into the industry and find other work. Yes, initially it was heavy for everybody because we had become a family. But people saw it as a challenge for us to go out with a bang the way we came in. And I think for us now, that was the target, that guys, we started strong. The person that we started with that really held all our hands is not here. Maybe this is our opportunity now to say thank you to him.
Yes.
And really do it in his honor to say, this is how we are finishing off.
So the show will go on.
And again, maybe it was time for new beginnings, right? I do believe for something new to come to the fore, that other door has to close. Absolutely. And sometimes it had to shut in your face for you to go, oh, okay, I need to do something else.
Yeah, wake up
call. And that's what happened.
What did Connie learn from Harriet that she'll carry with her for the rest of her life?
Harriet was actually a softie. When I say that, people don't believe me because she's so hardcore. But the love for family, she would die for her children. I know that I would die for my children.
She would
kill for her children. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. But, I think she was just hardcore. She was a strong woman. She could compete on any level with any man. When I said sure. Do you know what I mean?
She was the king.
She was the king herself. I think the difference between her and I is that I have no issues being submissive at all. All I demand is respect.
Yes.
I demand to be loved a certain way. I demand to be respected a lot. I demand to be honored. And I will happily submit. I could never compete for a role with a man. I don't feel like it's my position to do so. I feel I compliment very well.
Sure.
And I need to be complimented the same way.
What do you say to women in the church that are having to deal with, you're expected to submit, but you're not given conditions that allow for you to even give someone respect?
Everybody interprets the Bible differently,
The way it suits them.
but the way it suits us.
Yes.
And I mean, you listen to different pastors preach, and a lot of the times the preaching will lean more on the masculine side, right? Because a man will be glorified and put on a pedestal, and a woman has to submit and act a certain way towards a man. A woman, you have to do this for your man. You have to, and all they'll say about the man is, the man, you have to love your wife. Love means different things to different people, right? To some men, love means being the provider. So if I'm a man and I go out every day to work, I pay the rent, I build you a house, I buy you a car, that should be enough. What do you want from me? I don't have to give you kisses in the morning, good morning, my wife, or kisses at night, good night, my wife.
Respect you.
Or respect you. You don't have to know my movements. Why do you want to know where I'm going? Do you know what I mean? So then there's no relationship. It's like, I am just your whatever.
You're living past each other.
Yes.
But you need to build together.
But you need to build together. And for me, that's always been a thing. I build with someone. Yeah. Which is why I'm, what word did I use just now? I compliment.
Oh, yes. But it must be earned, though.
It must be earned.
You can't compliment a person. It's almost like a dance.
It is a dance. It's a give and take.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if we're not dancing, if it's just this,
yes,
then what are we doing?
But what I've, I suppose, learned about relationships also, and this is earlier, earlier in relationships, you kind of learn your person. And because you have different histories and you dealt with different people differently, you come with your own idea of what love is supposed to be like, or companionship is supposed to be like, and you start to learn each other, right? But I think people don't take time to do that. And if Kikopanaloena today fresh, and you come with your own ideas of what love is supposed to be like, because that's what you're used to, and I come with my own ideas of how I expect love to be like and how I want to be loved, because I know what makes me feel good and actually what makes me better for you.
Yeah. Help me be a better lover.
I have to teach you that.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're not willing to learn, then we have a problem. And also you have to teach me what makes you feel like a man.
Sure. Because
men like to feel like men. And I think as women, we shouldn't have issues with men wanting to feel, I want my man to feel like a man. A typical example, we are in the same industry. I am the celebrated one initially because I've been in the industry for so long. You just coming in, people look at you side-eyed to say, what are his intentions? And that becomes now my responsibility to reassure you and to elevate you and to show you.
And I'm younger than you.
Yes. Yeah. So,
but you stepped up and you're like, we are growing here.
Absolutely. And did we not grow?
No, dude.
Did we not grow?
Dude.
This was the effort of two people, not just one person.
And again, you didn't necessarily have to be that gracious. You could have been, I'm the steering here. Know your place.
I suppose I could have, right?
You know what I mean?
No, but you see...
And Orosifedile, please.
Orosifedile, no, but he was the steering of my heart, you understand?
Yeah.
And for someone that made my heart smile that much, I needed to make sure that he saw himself the way I saw him.
Oh, yes.
Not the way that other people or the world perceives him to. And as soon as he believed that, he shone, hey? Shone.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
No, I was going to say you're now delving into rap territory.
We can go there too,
And then you guys make headlines. You guys are going back to generations.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. What happened? Who made the call?
They made the call.
Okay.
So obviously let me speak for myself.
Why did they call you back? Is it because
the original?
Is it because your clip of how many started trending? They're like, we need these two back.
I don't know, but I didn't do that ad though. They had someone else in that ad.
No, but the original clip. The original clip
started trending. I don't even know. But one of the main characters in the current show,
yes,
had died, and they needed us, because he was like our son,
Yes.
to come back for the funeral. So it was literally a short story arc for about 4 days a week. Yeah.
How did you feel?
It felt great. You know, so that'll kind of always be home for me. I could never say no to them. What I do know is that I could never go back permanently. But like for short story arcs, to spice up the story or just to reconnect with a certain, if it makes sense.
And also flex who the heck you are.
Oh, really? No, I'm not a flexer, man. Sometimes I wish I was.
No, flexing, the magic of flexing isn't not flexing.
Okay,
Where you're in the room before you've even walked in.
right.
That's the flex.
Okay, then that's my flex.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Bram Fundi Vunza is, he's been in the industry.
Yeah.
But he's, also had battles with casts. There was the strike and stuff. So when all the drama was happening, you were outside.
Yes.
What are you feeling at the time of the generation's drama?
At the time, remember, I'm becoming a producer myself. So I'm understanding contracts from a producer's point of view. Dealing with the struggles of a producer and contracts. So being the middle person between the broadcaster, the agents, and the performers is like the most difficult position to be in, because you almost actually act as an agent, because you're trying to fight for everything that they are asking, because you think it's warranted. Absolutely 100%.
Also because you've been there.
Because I've been there and I'm fighting for the same things. I think absolutely it's warranted. But then if I'm met with, we don't have money, we don't have the budget for it, I don't have that money to come out of my pocket to pay for things that, to pay for a show that's not mine.
Sure.
For example, because I may be producing the show, I may be coming up with the storylines and whatever with the writers. It's not my show. When they say the Queen is done,
It's done.
it's done. It's gone. It's not my show. Whatever the Queen makes outside of what I get paid as a producer and as a production company,
Sure.
it's done. I don't make anything else outside of that. So it's a tough position to be in, because I feel like as a producer, when you say that, nobody believes you. But a producer signs a contract.
It's like, what's a big house? Who wants a new car?
Big house and new car, you get because you're able to manage your finances properly. Producers in this country don't make a lot of money. I can tell you that for free.
Generally, TV budgets are actually shocking.
No, they really don't. It's more one, how you manage it and how you become part of the value chain, that then you are able to build a business.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just about having a production company. You need to remember that you're a business.
Yeah.
So how does your business survive? How does your business make money?
You have overheads.
You have overheads.
And
you have
until
all
the
those
next
things.
production, this all you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what do you do to meet yourself somewhere? You can't just rely on your production, Malcolm.
Absolutely.
You invest in equipment, you invest in a studio, you invest. And it's from that investment
Sure.
that your money, where you see, okay, I'm working, I'm making money. But if it's just being a producer and nothing is happening, that money goes very quickly.
Your thoughts on open up the industry? Not just in acting, just across the board.
Across the board, I think we should.
But how without...
I think we should open up the industry. I think where it's misconstrued or misunderstood is when you say open up the industry, or other people of understanding open up the industry, is to say those veterans that have been there must sit down.
Now they must stop working.
Yeah, now they must stop working. They need to retire. Give
other
other children a chance. What happens to these people? They have lives. They've created all these liabilities and whatnot, and they have the experience to teach the younger ones. So for me, it's about finding a balance between making the older generation work
Sure.
and integrating the new ones.
Do you know what I think the problem is? I think the problem is generally, I don't know if it's a black thing or a continental thing, because the arts have never been treated seriously or as a career. One, everyone thinks they can do it.
Yeah.
Two, it's treated like it's some jungle gym in a playground. You've had your chance, give others a chance. But the same people will never go to their mother and say, Mama, you've been teaching, you're 60. When are you stopping to give other people a chance?
Yes.
So I think because the arts are not taken seriously, people don't treat it as a career, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's my career, so guy.
Wait, guy. And I think that's what people don't understand is that, you take all these years to develop yourself and to grow yourself, and you get to a certain point where you feel like, oh, okay, now I'm not just an actress, I'm a producer now.
Yes.
I can create my own work.
Exactly.
And then I create a show and I have a role on the show and they go,
Why are you hiring yourself?
why are you hiring yourself?
I'm
You
Connie,
want to
damn
do
it.
everything.
Are you Connie?
Nobody say to Tyler Perry, why are you hiring yourself?
And Tyler Perry's in all of his
Do,
productions.
do you know what I mean? So it's almost, I don't know if it's a South African thing or an African thing where you can't work and reward yourself for working.
You must almost explain yourself all the
You
time.
need to be explaining yourself all the time. I find it very
And we
sad.
can't live like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you refuse to live like that.
No,
Because you've worked damn hard to be here.
Yeah.
So why should you not have a production and hire yourself while hiring 100 other people?
Dog, if I can tell you the number of people that are, I mean, we don't expect them to go out into social media and say this is what they've done for us or whatnot, but we know what we know and they know what they know.
Sure.
And just the fact that they have come to us personally to say, this is how you have empowered me, this is how you've empowered my family. And I think that was my biggest heartbreak when the Queen ended, was that for a moment that was ending for all these people
Yeah,
from me, because that made my heart full, right? But other opportunities will come, are coming, and we will continue to do what we so love doing.
Yeah. Your thoughts on royalties for reruns and rebroadcasts? Because a lot of you guys work plays and it plays and it plays,
Yeah, we speak French.
but you don't see a cent.
Yeah, we speak French. We speak all these other languages. We are in all these countries that we don't know about. And a lot of times you don't even know. Someone will take a screenshot and say to you, hey, did you see yourself speaking French?
I had a conversation with Jamie Bartlett, may his soul rest in peace,
Yeah.
when we were judges on SA's Got Talent. And he was telling me that he said he went to DRC and Angola.
Yeah.
And he was shocked at what a big star he was there until he found out that ETV is pretty much on every possible decoder on the continent.
Wow.
Has ETV. So everyone knew.
So,
But he's like, I had no idea we're being broadcast in all of these countries.
Yeah.
But I don't see a cent.
yeah. This royalty issues, I don't know why it's still something that we are talking about.
Why is it not legislation?
Why is it not legislation? Why hasn't it been resolved years ago? Because it's been a long time coming. I mean,
Because the arts are not taken seriously.
the arts are not taken seriously.
Really
I mean, I've been in the industry since the early 90s. Since the early 90s.
Yeah.
Do you know how many shows I've done?
Yeah.
I mean, people will remember Generation, they'll remember The Queen, but do you know how many
But
shows
you've
I've
been at
done?
it. Yes.
Never got paid a cent for any of the shows I've done that have been rerunning and rerunning and rerunning.
And
then there was
someone
that-
is making money. but
and
it's
there
not
was
you
that
guys.
uncle.
Yes,
You remember
yes.
there was that uncle that played all
Get a
our
phone,
old
get a
shows.
phone.
Yes. And not a cent
Yeah.
from all those reruns. And of course someone is making money because every time these shows are sold or licensed, someone is getting paid. And to be honest, it shouldn't matter if you're getting paid $50. It really shouldn't matter.
If it's due to me, I want my $50.
If you are licensing it for $50, if I'm supposed to get half a cent
Then
from
share
that
it,
$50,
share it.
give me my half a cent of that $50.
It all adds up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually very upsetting. Before we wrap up,
But how do we resolve this, right? Because it's such a bone of contention. Because people, for example, expect producers to have the answer. Producers don't get paid for reruns. Producers don't get paid for licenses, right? Like I said, you produce, you give, you're done. You move on. So how do we resolve? When do we get to a resolution of this?
you are the clever producer here. Leave it to you and your producer people to find a solution. But until it's legislated, unfortunately...
Are we
yes,
fighting a losing battle?
Yeah, it will
Yeah.
continue being a losing battle.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, we have a a game we play called the WAW game.
Okay.
So, for instance, if I was to say to you, wow, what a fan moment, like a time you met someone whose fan you were,
Yeah.
and you were just spazzing out. What was that moment for you?
I was quite young. I was shooting a movie called Danger Zone with Billy Zane and Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
So,
As one does.
so I was lucky enough to be on set with them, right? So I was still very young. You know, when you're having a big fun moment, but you're trying to act like a steering because you are in a scene with them, right?
We're colleagues.
And you have dialogue, like you're an actress. Everybody knows who you are in South Africa. They may not know who you are, but everyone knows who you are. But I had such a big fan moment. And Billy Zane was such a gentleman. I think I didn't know him as much as everybody knows who Robert Downey Jr. is. But yeah, I think that was my one big, sure, I have arrived, but I'm a fan moment.
Wow, don't you trust my judgment? Maybe where you did a cover and they tried to question your styling, but you insisted that no, this is how I'm styling this cover myself. Have you ever had that moment?
No, I haven't. I've never really styled my own covers. I think I always trust the
You go
stylist.
with them. You agree with them. So the 50,000 covers you've done, you've never questioned not one of them.
Okay. Let's just say I haven't agreed with some of the decisions that were made. I mean, when you're on set at the time, it all feels, you know, you've got great pictures and not so great pictures. But after they've gone to print and you see, well, oh no, did you go with that picture? I'm sure I had a better picture. Oh, I've had a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
And a lot of moments where, you know, the cleaning up the pictures wasn't quite
So,
okay. You look at yourself and you don't feel like you look like you. I don't like that. I always want to look like me. But, you know, with shoots, I always try to trust the stylist because, you know, they have a brief. If it's avant-garde,
Sure.
Connie's not avant-garde, so I can't expect to come looking like me.
so
they have to make
they
it
will
look.
make it happen.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Wow, what an answer to a prayer. What prayer was answered when?
I think my prayer was answered when I met Shaw. Because at the time, I think but just me and my daughter, we cool, you know. But I knew my heart and I knew what I could give to someone if that person could give me that in return.
So Mudima's like, hold my beer, Gabriel, watch.
Listen, you know, now I'm thinking Gishapu, and then he literally comes knocking at my door and stepping into my house. You know, when they say, love will find you, my love found me.
Sometimes
and for me, that was an answered prayer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And finally, wow, what a show moment. What are some of the either daily or weekly moments do you have that you're like, that's a show moment?
Show?
As in Shona. Yeah.
I have so many of those.
What show moment did you have today?
So, Roneo, my grandson number one didn't go to school this morning because he claimed to be sick. I don't believe he was sick. I think it was just too cold.
I thought I was the only one who goes through that.
No, and I didn't even know he didn't go.
They'll
to
fake
school.
a cough.
Like, yes, you know. And Mabani, we played a video of him saying to his mom, "You're crazy." He was still very young. So we shared it on the group. We have a family group, and in that moment, I could literally hear my husband laugh.
Oh, wow.
So that was such a show moment because his laughter would have just like filled up the room. And they were like this, those two. Yeah.
What's next for Connie?
There's so much next for Connie.
Are we watching this space?
We are watching the space. A lot happening behind the scenes. Slow process, but a lot of progress. You know, I always say slow does not mean no progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if I'm not posting it, it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Oh, yeah, exactly that. So I think what I'm doing now is literally just taking time, number one, to breathe, because I know when it gets busy, it gets busy. And I think there's something that will be coming out hopefully this year that you will see Connie in.
Okay.
And
Are there guns? Is it romance?
oh, they're definitely guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you addicted now? Are you going to swear again?
I'm not telling. I'm not telling. But I think what's next for Connie is for Connie to try and find her happy place, and embrace her new happy, and be okay with it, and know that hubby would be happy for her to be happy. Yeah.
Okay. I'm hardly ever speechless, so if I'm quiet, it's because I don't know what else to say.
You don't know what else to say.
But listen, man, you've been an inspiration to a lot of us since we're kids. Watching you on TV. I can't say watching you in Miss Ellerins because that was not one of my goals to be a Miss Ellerins. But you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you.
And not just when Alishona. Being a beacon of hope for a lot of couples out there that maybe relearned how to love one another. But even just in your grief, in your management of your staff, in probably things you do in private that we'll never be privy to, you're a light for a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope it's something you don't take for granted. I hope it's something that we shall remind you of until your last light on this planet. But continue being that light.
I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
It's quite something, and a lot of us sadly waste the light that we are. And I'm hoping you won't waste the light that you are.
My mission in this life is to not waste that light, because our time here is short, hey? And it's not guaranteed, hey? We all learned that the hard way. Like, it's so not guaranteed.
It can be done in a minute.
It literally. So, shine while you are here, while you can shine.
Absolutely.
And that's my mission in this life.
And we shall be right behind you, cheering you on.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, former Miss Ellerine.
Stop.
Former Miss Ellerine's Constance Masilo. Guys, Connie is about to leave the building. I only asked you 2 questions.
From your list.
Yeah, that's all I asked you, 2 questions. The rest was all you. So thank you for being gracious. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thank you for having me.
We were taking a chance. We're not sure if you do interviews, if you will do interviews, if you do podcasts, but you did.
This is the first podcast I've done. It's another fish.
I know. That's why. No, maybe I make you nervous.
No, this is the first podcast I've done. I didn't even know what the situation of a podcast looked like.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've launched me.
Absolutely.
Into the podcast
Guys,
space.
I made.
Yes.
Connie, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And all the best.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.
What a week.
Guys, Connie is about to leave the building. So human physical conditions, check. Amusing enlightenment and guidance, check. Political awareness and insight, check. I think that should help us in the days coming up. Thanks for joining us, and have a wow week ahead. Shout out to AMP Studios for hosting us around here. The Africa Podcast Network. We are family. Our cinematographer, Trevor, and his team at Pezulu Works. Our audio engineer, Otis the Flow Fraser. And our guests, our tech guest, Thulile Khanyile, comedian Nicholas Goliath, and our creative director, Kuvesh Mohan. Show producer, Keleso Mudisakeng. We are out of here. Have a wow week in spite of yourselves.
Can you hear me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.